Welcome to the Bachelor Breakdown, where we break down the game of life.
Especially the games that men play.
I'm your girl, Erica.
I'm Ashley. Let's break it down. Today, we'll be breaking down marriage and plastic surgery. Let's get into it.
So, the question is, when you meet someone and you're getting serious, do you divulge any kind of work that you've had done? Or do you not? Does it not matter? If I was dating someone, if I had all this work done and I was dating someone that I knew was into that, I would say, hey, I just want you to know, back in the day, I like totally became a new woman. And I just need you to know. You know what I mean? I would have divulged it because I knew who he is. And I'd rather do that in the beginning than be in this mess. You see what I'm
Well, I
saying?
totally agree. I believe in complete transparency in relationships. So if you meet someone and you've had 50 procedures, you should probably tell them. I can't stand a liar. And I
No.
feel like a lot of men do the same thing for women. Like men pretend to be something that they aren't when
Oh,
they start
100%.
relationships. And then women find out years later, like, you're a complete fraud. You're not who you said
Hmm.
you were. So women
Hmm.
leave. Like, I mean, it's like the celebrities nowadays. Like people have before and after pictures and they blatantly lie to our face. I didn't have no surgery.
That's why I don't like worry about it anymore. And I'm someone I've never had anything done. Um, I'm not saying that when I get older, I won't want to tweak some stuff, but for me, plastic surgery is not a necessity, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I just
For
don't
me, it
think
was
it's
because
necessary.
I
I
have
think,
I have had
yeah.
a boob job.
Well, see, that's different. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking more. I think like if I were to have kids and I wanted to do a mommy makeover, all that, 100%, I get it. But see, I feel like that's a necessity because your body,
That's for me. It
to
was
me,
a
that's a
necessity, babe,
necessity.
because these
But
kids around here will suck you dry. And
I can only
and,
imagine.
and
I
then
can
you need to
imagine.
have a little pick me up. So yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I do believe like certain things are a necessity,
yeah,
but they should be discussed. Like
100%.
it.
Especially now, Ashley, a big thing right now is everyone's doing these fillers. And
Oh,
they're really transforming their faces with these fillers. And for me, I'm someone who I always look at long term. So it's
mhm.
like you might look good right now, but what they don't actually understand is that when you're injecting and doing all these things, you're actually creating scar tissue underneath your skin, and that's where you get that look of almost kind of like that puffy fake look.
Well,
And they don't
yeah,
understand, they get addicted to it. And to start something like that so young, I'm like, honey, you're actually hurting yourself. So that's when I say it's not a necessity, those
no,
kind of procedures.
yeah.
I understand, like, if I had a kid or any other sort of issues, I get it. Or if I was older and just wanted to refreshen things, or if I wanted a breast reduction, I think those are all necessities that improve your quality of life. But I don't think trying to reach this unattainable standard of beauty is necessary because you're hurting yourself more than helping yourself, is how I feel.
I agree. Well, like it's like I mean, you're changing your appearance
Hmm.
sometimes permanently because
Yeah,
some of these procedures can't be undone, and
you're
when we
right,
get
you
into
can't be
bad
reversed.
plastic surgery and bad
Hmm.
enhancements,
Hmm.
it really does change.
Hmm.
It can change how you feel about yourself, how people
100%.
feel about you, like in
Hmm.
relationships. I actually know women
Hmm. Hmm.
who have gotten procedures during their marriage and did not tell their husbands. Like whole
But did
face.
their husbands notice it?
Some do.
That's the
And
best.
some don't, which is really bad. I think it just shows
I
like the status of
know.
your relationship. Like if you go have a facelift and
And
your
he doesn't
friend drops
notice.
you off and picks you up and your husband knows nothing about it, like that might be telling of your relationship. Like if I don't know, like I feel like that's sensitive to every woman, like because again, some people are having procedures to save their marriage. And if they want to get a little nip and tuck here without their husband noticing, to kind of come home and surprise them with like, they're more attractive or more desirable because we do have this standard in our country where women want to be desired by men. And if your marriage is not as um, romantic or connected as it used to be, like some women seek out and have procedures to one feel better about themselves and more attractive to their husbands. But when it goes wrong and it changes,
Or, a lot of, and I even had it in my own relationships where, I entered into the relationship and I was, much, much thinner. And, you get in this like amazing bliss of being together. And I'm a huge foodie. Like, for me, everything revolves around food. Like,
makes you,
I'm thinking about every meal I'm going to have throughout the day before. When I travel, all I want to know is where I'm going to
what I'm
eat,
gonna
what
eat,
things I'm going to experience.
what are we eating?
Right? I'm a foodie. That for me, food is joy. It's breaking bread with people I love. So when I get in these relationships, we tend to eat and I gain. Like one relationship I was in, I gained like 30 pounds in the relationship just from eating. And I was significantly, yes, I was significantly different as far as appearance from when we entered the relationship. And I noticed that as I was in this relationship with him, more and more things about him came out that I didn't like. But because I was so heavy, I kind of just stuck around because I felt so insecure about
Um,
myself and I wasn't feeling very confident. So I kind of stuck around and dealt with things I wouldn't typically deal with. And then I
because you felt like
finally,
he was putting up with your
exactly,
appearance
well,
changing.
he still loves me even at my fattest. So wow, he must be
He must
special.
really
So
love
let me
me.
let me stick around.
Yeah.
But then I finally lost the weight. I lost all 30 and a little bit more, and I was feeling myself. And I'm telling you, after I lost that weight, he couldn't tell me anything. And we just kind of drifted apart. So I think that sometimes when we're not operating at our peak,
Hmm.
meaning, and everyone's peak is different. But
Yeah.
for me, being as heavy as I was sluggish. I didn't have energy. I was insecure. I didn't really want to leave the house and be out. And so I wasn't my true self. But once I lost that weight and I was back to who I really truly was, and I was more confident in myself, which made me more grounded, things that I didn't like in his temperament and personality, I no longer stood for because I finally had that confidence in myself. So then I was able to very easily make that decision to cut it off and break away. So sometimes I think these marriages are ending because a partner finally gets to that point where, whether it was through plastic surgery or losing weight, they finally get back to the place where they feel grounded and comfortable and confident in who they are and what they bring to the table. And they're willing to break away and leave what wasn't serving or working for them.
I think that's so interesting. I think that is
Yeah.
a very um, interesting point and
Hmm.
like on target. Like that is
Yeah.
very. I never would have thought about it like that
Yeah.
because I think I experienced something different in my relationship where I was very thin, like slim
Uh-huh.
thick as a teenager, like curvy in all the
So
right places, right?
cute.
Um, even at that point, I was like, "Ah, I need to lose 5 pounds, but I didn't need to do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
At
then I
that
had
point, we don't know, right?
children, and I never like this whole toxic snapback culture. I never snapped back to that pre-teen, like to that teenage pre-pregnancy body. Never.
Yeah.
I've never been that size. Like I was 125 pounds from the time I was in the fifth grade
Hmm.
until I got pregnant with my daughter.
Hmm.
And after I had my daughter, I just never got back down to 125. I think at my smallest, it may have been like 138.
Hmm.
And then I had my son, never got back down to 130, 125. Still like at my smallest with him, I think I've been like, after him, I've been like 140.
Hmm.
And this has have to be a topic for a whole nother episode. But
Yeah. Yeah.
my ex told me that the reason like he cheated on me was because I didn't look the same as before. Like I had kids. And I'm like, motherfucker, I had two kids.
Yes. I had
And
these kids. Oh,
honestly, when I look like, we'll have to show the pictures, right?
yes.
Like when at the size that he is referring to, like pre-pregnancy, I kind of look like a little girl. Like when I look at it now, I'm like, I look like a little girl. And
Well,
then at the
that's
size,
another topic.
another topic.
Yes.
But then at
Yeah.
the size that I was when he cheated on me, I was like, I'm like, damn, I look good. I can honestly say I look good. We'll show the pictures. But it's like I feel like appearance does play a big role in the sustainability of a relationship. But how like I would like to talk about like what do you think is like how important should it be? Like, how important should your physical appearance be in relationships? Because you do want to be attracted to the person that you're actually sleeping with.
100%. Well, there's a TV character, Ashley, where, the woman is, actually having a child via surrogacy, even though she's fully able and capable of carrying the child. It's a mythical, made up TV character. Don't want
Mhm.
anyone thinking we're talking about anyone. She's fully capable of carrying the child, but because she doesn't want to ruin her body because she's afraid that the husband's attention will alter,
Mhm.
they are doing having their child via surrogacy because they're well off and they can, do that.
Mhm.
What's your thoughts on that? In order to keep a marriage where you go so as far as not carrying your own child.
Well, I think it's very telling of the relationship. Like when I think back,
Mhm.
I realize like I understand now because hindsight is 2020. What was important in my relationship to my partner, and so in that relationship that you're referring to, appearance is valued. So if you look a certain way, then I will be attracted to you and I will be in relationship to you in relationship with you. So because appearance is valued, I think more so than the connection, the love, the understanding, like all the things that should be valued in relationships. I think I think she's making a trade off, like not carrying her child, not having that experience in order to stay connected to her husband. So it's all about what your partner values. Because if your partner leaves you because your appearance changes based on like external factors, like, I don't know, childbirth or an accident or aging, then you have to really question like how deep was the connection.
Yeah, and how, like you said, how deep is this connection? And the truth of the matter is, and my parents always said this, and now my grandmother always said this, is that looks change. It doesn't matter how hard you try to fight this clock or what you try to do, they will change. And you want to have someone by your side who truly loves you for who you are.
Hmm.
And I'm not to say, I don't want to say like if you're in a relationship and you gain all this weight or whatever, that your partner shouldn't question it. Because I really truly believe that in a partnership, you sign up together to go through thick and thin. And there's issues where you might be in an accident or you might have issues where you're on a certain medication that puts weight on you. In those cases, you have to be there for your partner, in my opinion,
Absolutely.
100%. That's what you say in your vows. But there are cases where sometimes we do lose ourselves and we do get depressed and we do, kind of get to a point where we're not showing up as our best selves. And I think that, it's a thin line of, in my opinion, of saying what's right and wrong. But I truly believe that, when I do find my person, I want to show up as my best self. You know what I mean? And so my best self might not be that thin waif of a person I was in my 20s,
Right.
but wherever I am now, I want to take care of myself as best that I can to be healthy, to have energy, to be able to do things with them and experience life with them. And so healthy is all different sizes, as we know, but I
I
think it's just
agree.
showing up as your best self for each other.
As your best self for each other, and also having an understanding like you said, bodies change, appearance
Yes,
changes.
100%.
I think if a relationship starts under fraudulent conditions,
Our our expectations that are not normal.
exactly. So if you lie to me about who you are, if you lie to me about what you've evolved from, if you just are not authentic and you don't show up as your true self, and you aren't transparent in sharing information, I think that is grounds for an ending of a relationship.
Mhm.
100%. Whether that's physical appearance, whether that's your attitudes. If you say you value marriage and commitment and monogamy, and then you turn out to be a cheater, like you're a
Mhm.
fraud. I think
Yeah.
any relationship that starts based on someone like lying to you and basically
Mhm.
defrauding you,
Mhm.
then yeah, that's
Or
grounds for
having limitations of their love, meaning just like you said, I'll love you if you
it.
stay this size. I'll love you if you
Absolutely.
continue. You know what I mean? That is also, you don't want any kind of limitations, expectations in that physical realm, because I've known girls that have worked out like crazy their entire lives. They've always
Mhm.
been very much so into taking care of their bodies. They have that first kid, bodies change, they don't even know how to really navigate and cope it, so they're learning a new system, a new
Mhm.
body, and how to work with it. And the husbands are like, get it together, and it causes that friction. And
Yeah.
so I think that, it's having a realistic expectation
Well, I think
on
that's hard in our
certain
society because you
things.
see all this snapback culture, and I had a
Oh, I
baby four
know.
weeks ago, and I'm already back into my pre-pregnancy clothes. Like I feel like those
It's true.
images and that messaging tarnishes the expectations of men and women. Like so,
Mhm.
when a man thinks, "Oh, well, she lost weight in 4 weeks. Why
Mhm.
can't you?"
Mhm. And
It's
everyone's
you.
body's different.
Everyone's body's different, and then like 9 months later it still looks like you're pregnant. Like
Mhm.
then he's disgusted, but it's like my body's different. Maybe I
Mhm.
carried differently. Maybe my
Mhm.
delivery was traumatic.
Mhm.
Maybe I don't have any help and I can only eat when I can, or I'm
Yeah.
overeating to self-soothe. Like you
Mhm.
never know how your body is going to respond
So
to
true.
external changes, especially when you have a child.
100%. And you
um,
don't know until you're in the ball game, until the game's already
and
started.
you don't know. So if your love or connection is tied to appearance, then that makes it very stressful for a woman. And then that makes it, I mean, it also lays the groundwork for going out and having cosmetic surgery procedures based on like an unhealthy body image or societal pressures. Because then it's like, okay, something's wrong with me. I don't look the same. My husband is not satisfied. I'm not, he doesn't desire me, and I've got to fix me. So then you go have these procedures. I mean, and that's a whole nother episode about plastic surgeries. Two things you should never ask for a discount on: private planes and plastic surgery.
And plastic surgery.
Because
Well said. That
because
we need
like
to make that a t-shirt.
you go get these, whether your husband knows or not, you go get these procedures, and then you have a botched job, and then your husband is mad, and it makes you even less desirable, and then the body dysmorphia like is exacerbated. It's like, so it's such a compound issue, like it's such a complicated issue, and it just kind of compounds on each other if you aren't doing it for the right reasons, if you aren't having plastic surgery for the right reasons, if you aren't trying to like enhance your appearance for the right reasons. It's all kind of like it can all be like very messy and all very harmful,
So,
honestly.
so what do you think people can do? Because for me, I feel like if you're going to do plastic surgery, it's fine, but you just have to make sure, in my opinion, you're doing it for you. I don't feel like you should do it for anyone. So, what do you think are some tools? Since you said you kind of went through it after you had your children, what are some tools do you think women or men can do to check in with themselves to say, okay, this is a decision that is probably best for me or not best for me?
Well, here's I'll give my little personal testimony to this. So I wanted to, after I had my daughter, I wanted to I have always been very small, like very small, not very small chested, but not as like not very big. I was always like a small C. And after I had my daughter and I nursed her for a little while, my breasts were deflated, like completely gone. And I hated it because I
Is
couldn't go
that from
without a bra. I was
breastfeeding?
21 years old and I had to wear a bra all the time. Like
Is that from breastfeeding?
from
Because I hear a
nursing.
lot
Yeah.
of women say that.
Yeah, from nursing. I had gotten so big with nursing, and then once I stopped nursing, they were just pancakes. I hated it. I hated it for myself. Like I wanted to be
Mhm,
able to. I was 21 years old. I wanted to be able to wear a top without wearing a bra. Like I wanted to
mhm.
be who I really wanted to be, who I was before I had
Yeah, yeah.
a child. And I don't even think I stopped to embrace like what my body had gone through. Because I think a lot of it did play into, like, I wanted to be the same size. Like, before I had my child, I never had to work out.
Mhm.
I never had to watch what I ate. Like, so this shock of, oh, baby girl, your body has changed. You have to watch what you eat now. You have to work out to get this weight off. And you don't look the same. Like, that was a shock for
Yeah.
me. Um, so, but it
And
was
being a
fine.
new
Like,
mom.
I was a new mom, and I was in school. I was like so much
Oh my
happening, right?
gosh, yeah, you're
Um,
navigating a lot at that time.
and I do think it was like a little bit of pressure to still be attractive to my
Yeah, your
boyfriend at the
partner,
time.
yeah.
Um, because I wanted to be attracted to, like, I wanted to be who I, show up as who I was. But that didn't really have anything to do with my decision to get it. He actually didn't want me to get my breast done. He was like, "You don't
Oh.
need it," and I was like,
Oh, that's interesting.
"Yeah, I do." He was like, "No,
Yeah.
you don't." I was like, "Yes, I do."
But it's
Um,
interesting that he's the same one that said that,
I didn't look the
you
same.
had you didn't
Mhm,
look the same. So
mhm.
that's like giving you conflicting messages. So you're hearing one thing, but then you're experiencing something different with him.
What I realized, it was always conflicting messages with him. Later
Yeah.
on, I realized it was always
Nothing was a straight
nothing was consistent. So I ended up doing it, and he was supportive, whatever. Um, and my doctor, this is we'll go into a little deeper. My doctor was like a quack, which I didn't understand, because, and it was like I had like a botched boob job, the first time, which I didn't understand, because this man had been on, like, Good Morning America, The Today Show, Oprah, and I was like, you messed me up. But it was a botch, but it wasn't like real bad. It was manageable. So then I had my son a few years later, and oh, because I went, let me tell you, I went from a small C, to a G. He made me a G. I just wanted to be like filled up. I didn't want to be bigger. Um, but again, this is what happens. This is what can happen in a relationship. You go in, and it was very expensive. I thought, this man was qualified. He made me a G. So this is what can happen in your marriage. Like, you can go have all the right intentions if you do it for yourself, and if you don't share with your partner, you come home from a small C to a G, and your partner's like, I don't like big breasts. What is happening? What did you do? Then that can cause tension in the relationship. Um, Thankfully, mine didn't care. And after I had my son, I had to go back, which he was supportive of, and I had to take everything out, actually get like a reduction, and then get another implant. So it was a stressful process for me. Um, but
Oh.
thankfully he was supportive of all of it. So that's just to say, like, you have to be transparent, and you have to have these conversations with your partner, and you have to, like, include, you don't have to, but it's important to include them in the decision making. Like, if you are partnered and you
Mhm.
want to change something about your appearance voluntarily, not because it's a medical necessity, if you're
Mhm.
having an elective surgery, it's always important to share that information with your partner, because
Mhm.
anything could happen, good
Yes.
or bad. Like, if you can have a
Mhm.
great result, or you can have a bad, you can be botched.
Yeah.
Or I have a friend who, the husband actually got plastic surgery and didn't tell her, and almost died. Like, so it's very scary, and
Right?
I feel like, so in so many marriages, the communication line isn't always open,
Mhm.
or people just aren't comfortable being transparent, because they don't want to deal with the consequences of having a real conversation. But it's imperative, especially if it if it is elective cosmetic
Mhm.
surgery, you
You
have
have
to
to
have
discuss
these
it.
conversations.
And I
But, like,
think that this is a great gauge for a lot of people that if you aren't comfortable having these conversations, I think you need to really dig deep and figure out where there's a disconnect in that relationship,
see a
in my
therapist.
opinion.
Like, seeing a therapist to make sure that it's not,
Mhm.
you know body dysmorphia, or make sure you don't have unrealistic expectations, or you're not searching for perfection, or connection or
Mhm.
desirability or approval from a partner. I think you can absolutely see a therapist to walk you through, to help you navigate the process of, do I
Yeah.
really need cosmetic surgery? Am I doing it for myself or am I doing it for
Mhm.
someone else? Like
Yeah.
what that means
Yeah.
for you personally, you know?
100%. I think it's true. I think it's true, and I think you had mentioned too that, there is such a rise with, I'm looking at one of the article, weight loss surgery tied to increases in divorces and marriages, and um, you said that there's a lot of studies on adults who had, for example, bariatric surgery to lose significant amount of weight, that the divorce increased the likelihood of that couple splitting up. So I think,
Well, yeah, I think that's tied to what you spoke to.
yeah,
Was like,
feeling
from
better
our
about
the
yourself.
stats on this, that's in our scouting report segment. It's like weight loss surgery is, if you have weight loss surgery, you double your chances of divorce. And I
Isn't
think
that
that speaks
crazy?
to what you were saying. Like, you
Yeah.
were more willing to put up and settle for something in your
Mhm.
relationship because you didn't feel
I
like
didn't feel good about myself. I
you didn't
wasn't
feel good about
confident.
yourself.
Mhm,
You weren't showing up as who you really felt that you were. And
mhm,
maybe women or men think like, well, they're putting up with me at this weight. They're willing
mhm,
to be in a relationship with me at this weight. So I can put up with, the things that I normally wouldn't tolerate.
mhm.
Well, when people, like you said, feel better about themselves and are more
Yeah.
confident and really show up who they are, they're like, no, I'm not dealing with that. So I
Yeah,
thought that was
you have more of a
interesting that
confidence. Mhm,
it's not necessarily plastic surgery that's leading to more divorces, but weight loss surgery
mhm.
leads to more divorces.
100%, and I really think that someone who's single, me being someone who's single, like, I get questions all the time, like, "Why aren't you dating? Why aren't you out there?" And I think people look at my age and think like, "Clock's a ticking. Why are you not out there?" And I'm just gonna be quite honest with everyone, because in my opinion, we're all family here. Well, me and you, yes, but everyone watching too. But, I kind of look at it like this, Ashley, like, I just have not been operating as my best self. Like, I kind of took a hit with COVID. I gained a significant amount of weight for me on my frame. I haven't been feeling my best self. My confidence wasn't at the same level. And I was just like, the kind of person that I want to meet is not going to be attracted to me where I am right now. And I'm not even just talking physical, because attraction is also your confidence, how you carry yourself, how you interact. And I just made a decision for myself, until I get back to the place where I really feel I'm back to being grounded and 100% myself. I don't want to meet anyone, because I'm afraid in that process of meeting someone, I might slip back into that old place of not
Mm,
100% feeling confident, and I
yeah.
might get involved with someone that is really not worthy. That sounds kinda harsh, but meaning not a good partner for me. So
Well, you
I'm
don't
like,
want to
I
settle.
I
You
I
don't want to
wanna.
go through that. I'll put up with this
Exactly,
because I'm not
exactly.
100%. And I
So
don't feel
I'm
so great
waiting
about
until I feel 100% back to myself before I go out there, because ultimately I wanna find my forever partner,
myself.
and I'm not gonna find them when I'm a shell of myself. So I
Absolutely.
want to 100% be grounded so that I can meet the person who, for me, I feel is ultimately gonna be someone I can spend the rest of my life with.
Yeah. And I think for me, like when I choose to, like, I don't know,
Mhm.
entertain someone,
Yeah,
I'm always open about like
yeah.
anything I've had done. Like I haven't had anything done except my breasts. I'm
Mhm,
happy to disclose that.
mhm,
And I will let someone know, like, if I'm 40, when I get to 40, if I haven't
uh-huh,
lost this little belly weight that I want to
uh-huh,
lose,
mhm,
when I get my boobs redone, because then
mhm.
it will be time to get them redone.
Oh, why not?
Um, I'm going to have lipo. Like, it has
Yeah,
nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with me. Like,
yeah, it's something you wanna do for yourself.
this is something I want to do for myself. So I'm happy to disclose anything. Like, I don't think I'll ever really mess with my face because I don't really like needles.
Me either,
I
and I feel
can't.
like if you mess this up, you can't really reverse
You
it.
can't
I'm
reverse it.
especially
Like,
afraid
I
of
have,
that.
like, deep, dark circles, like, deep set eyes
Mhm,
and dark circles, and there's, like, filler that you can put in to plump up. I can't do that.
mm-mm. I
I
am
don't wanna
not
be
touching the
blind.
face.
I'm not doing nothing to my face. Like, I
No,
don't wanna be blind. But
no.
that's, if that's your choice, that's your choice. But
Mhm,
my advice is always to make sure whatever you do for yourself, to yourself, is
mhm.
for you. Like,
Yeah.
don't have cosmetic surgery for anyone else. Don't go to therapy for anyone else. Whatever
Yeah.
you do in your life, do it for
Don't do
you.
it for anyone else but yourself.
Just do it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Make
Just do it for
all
you.
you are your own guiding light. Do
Amen.
it because you want to be better, expand, grow, evolve for you,
I
not
love
anyone
it.
else.
This was good. This was a great episode.
I think so.
I
Like,
love it. So just to recap for everyone, transparency is key in all relationships.
yes.
Be honest. If you feel like you can't 100% be honest, I think that that's your gauge to say maybe we need to speak with someone else outside of the marriage together to
Mm-hmm.
kind of maybe see where there's a disconnect. Once again, only do things for yourself and what's best for you, not to please someone or to keep someone. And
Absolutely.
always, once again, just check in with yourself. If you want to do this for you, that's 100% great, but just keep it real with yourself and with your partner,
Yeah,
right?
I love it.
This is
This
great. All
was
right.
great.
Well, until next time.
Thanks for joining us as we break down the game of life in plastic surgery. We'll see you next month with a new episode. Until next time, do you be you. We love you.